Korea saw a huge surge in the number of new COVID-19 cases in early 2022.
Korea saw a huge surge in the number of new COVID-19 cases in early 2022.
Korea saw a huge surge in the number of new COVID-19 cases in early 2022.
In the number of new COVID cases in early 2022.
Korea saw a huge surge in the number of new COVID-19 cases in early 2022.
Early 2022. Korea saw a huge surge in the number of the new COVID-19
cases in early 2022.
COVID-19 cases in early 2022. Korea saw a huge surge in the number of new COVID-19 cases in early 2022.
Korea saw a huge surge in the number of new COVID-19 cases in early 2022.
In the number of new COVID-19 cases in early 2022. Early 2022.
That's when the Omicron variant became the dominant strain.
That's when the Omicron variant
That's when the Omicron variant became the dominant strain.
became the dominant strain. That's when the Omicron variant became the dominant strain. That's when the Omicron variant became the dominant strain. That's when the Omicron variant became the dominant strain.
That's when the Omicron variant became the dominant strain. That's when the Omicron variant became the dominant strain.
That's when the Omicron variant became the dominant strain.
That's when the Omicron variant became the dominant strain.
That's when the Omicron variant became the dominant strain.
We called it the fifth wave of infections. Daily case number.
We called it
the fifth wave of infections.
Wave of infections. We called it the fifth wave of infections. We called it the
fifth wave of infections.
We called it the fifth wave of infections.
We called it the fifth wave of infections.
We called it the fifth wave of infection.
We called it the fifth wave of infections.
We called it the fifth wave of infections.
We called it the fifth wave of
infections.
Daily case numbers once went well over 400,000.
Went well over 400.
Daily case numbers once went well over 400,000.
400,000. Daily case numbers once went well over 400,000. Daily case numbers once went well over 400,000. Daily case numbers once went well over. Daily case numbers once went well over 400,000. Daily case numbers once went well over. Daily case numbers.
Daily case numbers once went well over 400,000.
400,000. Daily case number once went well over thousands. 400,000. 400,000. Daily case numbers once went well over 400,000. Daily case numbers once went well over 400,000. Go well over. Once went well over 400.
Daily case numbers once went well over 400,000. The main reason for the recent spike was once again the Omicron variant and its subvariants.
The Omicron variants and its subvariants. The main reason
The main reason for the
For the
recent
recent
spike
spikes
was
was
once again
once
the
again
Omicron
the
variant
Omicron
and its subvariants. The main
Omicron
reason for the recent
variant
spike was once again the Omicron variant and its subvariants.
and its subvariant. The main reason for the recent spike. The main reason for the recent spike was once again the Omicron variant and its subvariants.
The main reason for the recent spike was once again the Omicron variant and its subvariants.
The main reason for the main reason for the recent spike was once again the Omicron variant and its subvariants. The main reason for the recent spike was the main reason for the recent spike was once again the Omicron variant and its subvariants. The main reasons for the recent spike was once again the Omicron variant and its subvariants.
The main reason for the recent spike was once again the Omicron variant and its subvariants.
The Omicron variant and its subvariant.
There were also a lot of breakthrough infections.
There are also a lot of breakthrough infection. There are also a lot of breakthrough infection. There are also a lot of breakthrough infections. Breakthrough infection. There are also a lot of breakthrough infections.
There were also a lot of breakthrough infections.
There are also a lot of breakthrough infection. There are also a lot of breakthrough infection.
There were also a lot of breakthrough infections.
There are also a lot of breakthrough infection. There are also a lot of breakthrough infection.
There were also a lot of breakthrough infections.
There are also a lot of breakthrough infections.
People who had been fully vaccinated got infected as well.
People who had been fully vaccinated got infected as well. People who
had been fully vaccinated got infected as well.
Been fully vaccinated got infection as well.
People who had been fully vaccinated got infected as well.
Got infection as well. Got infection as well. People who had been fully vaccinated got infection as well.
People who had been fully vaccinated got infected as well.
Fully vaccinated, had been fully vaccinated, got infected as well. People who had been fully vaccinated got infected.
People who had been fully vaccinated got infected as well.
Got infected as well.
As of today, the total number of cases in Korea is roughly at 18 million, which is almost 40% of the entire population.
Roughly 18 million, which is almost 40% of the entire population.
As of today, the total number of cases in Korea is roughly at 18 million, which is almost 40% of the entire population.
18 million, which is almost 40% of the entire population.
As of today, the total number of cases in Korea is roughly at 18 million, which is almost 40% of the entire population.
Entire population.
As of today, the total number of cases in Korea is roughly at 18 million, which is almost 40% of the entire population.
of the entire population. Of the entire population. At the beginning of the latest surge,
At the beginning of the latest surge, many restrictions were put in place.
Many restrictions were put in place. Put in place. Many restrictions. At the beginning of the latest surge, at the beginning of the latest surge, at the beginning of the latest surge, many restrictions were put in place. At the beginning of the latest surge, many restrictions were put in place.
At the beginning of the latest surge, many restrictions were put in place.
Many restrictions were put in place.
At the beginning of the latest surge, many restrictions were put in place.
Many restrictions were put in place. At the beginning of the latest surge, many restrictions were put in place. People had to check in.
People had to check in with a QR code when they visited public facilities.
When they visited public facilities. People had to check in with a QR code when they visited public facilities. People had to check in with a QR code when they visited public facilities. This was to help
contact tracing
effort. This was to help contact tracing effort. This was to help contact tracing efforts. This was to help contact tracing efforts.
They also had to present their vaccine passes to enter various places.
They also had to present their vaccine passes to enter various places.
They also had to present their vaccine passes to enter various places.
They also had to present their vaccine passes to enter various
They
places.
also had to present their vaccine passes to enter various places.
Vaccine passes to enter various places. They also had to present their vaccine passes to enter various places. They also had to present their vaccine passes to enter various places. They also had to present their
They also had to present their vaccine passes to enter various places.
vaccine passes to enter various places. They also had to present their vaccine passes to enter various places. They also had to present their vaccine passes to enter various places. To enter passes to enter various places. They also had to present their vaccine passes to enter various places.
However, new case numbers skyrocketed and many COVID-19 prevention policies became useless. However, new case numbers skyrocketed and many COVID-19 prevention policies became useless.
Prevention policies become useless.
However, new case numbers skyrocketed and many COVID-19 prevention policies became useless.
Prevention policies became. However, new case numbers skyrocketed, and many COVID prevention policies became useless. New case numbers skyrocketed. skyrocketed, and many COVID-19 prevention policies became useless.
However, new case numbers skyrocketed and many COVID-19 prevention policies became useless.
Prevention policies became useless.
However, new case numbers skyrocketed and many COVID-19 prevention policies became useless.
Became useless. However, new case numbers skyrocketed and many COVID-19 prevention policies became useless. COVID-19 prevention policies became useless.
However, new case numbers skyrocketed and many COVID-19 prevention policies became useless.
COVID-19 prevention policies became useless. Many COVID-19 prevention policies became useless. However, new case numbers skyrocketed and many COVID-19 prevention policies became useless. New case numbers skyrocketed and many COVID-19 prevention policies became useless. And then
the pandemic entered into an endemic phase.
Entered into endemic phase.
And then the pandemic entered into an endemic phase.
Entered into endemic phase. And then the pandemic entered into endemic phases.
And then the pandemic entered into an endemic phase.
Endemic phase. And then the pandemic entered into endemic phase.
And then the pandemic entered into an endemic phase.
And entered into
And then the pandemic entered into an endemic phase.
Entered into an endemic phase.
Now people are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected.
Kids at home to see if they are infected.
Now people are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected.
Home to see if they are infected. People are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected. Now
people are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected.
Self-test kits at home to see kids at home to see if they are infected.
Now people are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected.
To see if they are infected.
Now people are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected.
People are also using self-test kits at home. Self-test kits at home to see if they are infected.
Now people are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected.
Kids at home to see. Kids at home to see if they are.
Now people are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected.
If they are infected. Many people are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected. People are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected. Kids at home to see. People are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected.
Now people are also using self-test kits at home to see if they are infected. The test results normally come out right away on the spot. The test results normally come out right away on the spot.
Test results normally come out.
The test results normally come out right away on the spot.
Right away on the spot. The test results normally come out right away on the spot. The test results normally come out right away on the spot. The test results normally come out right away on the spot. Even if people do test positive,
Even if people do test positive, they do not have to self-quarantine anymore.
Quarantine anymore. Even if people do test positive, even if people do test positive, even if people do test positive, they do not have to self quarantine anymore. Even if people do test positive, even if people do test positive, they do not have to quarantine anymore, self quarantine anymore. Even if people do test positive, they do not have to self quarantine anymore. Even if people do test positive, they do not have to self quarantine anymore. Even if people do test positive, they do not have to self quarantine anymore.
Even if people do test positive, they do not have to self-quarantine anymore.
Even if people do test positive, they do not have to self quarantine anymore.
Even if people do test positive, they do not have to self-quarantine anymore.
For sure.
For sure, we are now getting ready for the next phase of the pandemic, which is living with COVID-19.
We're getting ready for the next phase of the pandemic. Which is living with COVID-19. For sure, we are now getting ready for the next phase of the pandemic, which is living with COVID-19. For sure, we are now getting ready for the next phase of the pandemic, which is living with COVID-19. For sure, we are now getting ready for the next phase of the pandemic, which is living with COVID-19. We are now getting ready for the next phase of the pandemic, which is living with COVID-19.
For sure, we are now getting ready for the next phase of the pandemic, which is living with COVID-19.
Which is living with COVID-19. For sure, we are now getting ready for the next phase of the pandemic, which is living with COVID-19.
All social distancing measures have been lifted.
All distancing measures have been lifted. All social distancing measures. All social distancing measures. All social distancing measures have been lifted.
All social distancing measures have been lifted.
All social distancing measures have been lifted. All social distancing measures have been lifted. Also, restrictions on
large gatherings and business hours have been dropped completely.
Restriction on large gatherings. 제한. Restriction on the large gatherings and business hours have been dropped completely.
Also, restrictions on large gatherings and business hours have been dropped completely.
Mask mandates
Mask mandates have been lifted as
have
well.
been lifted
Overall,
as well.
everything is now
Everything's
returning
now
to normal.
returning to normal. Mask mandates
Mask mandates have been lifted as
have
well.
been lifted as well.
Overall, everything is now returning to normal.
Everything is now returning to normal. Mask mandates have been lifted as well. Mask mandates have been lifted as well. Overall, everything is now returning to normal.
Mask mandates have been lifted as well. Overall, everything is now returning to normal.
Normal. I am relieved.
I am relieved that we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
The light at the end of the tunnel. Relieved. I am relieved
that we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Finally seeing the light.
I am relieved that we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Light at the end of the tunnel. I am relieved that we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I am relieved that we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I am relieved that we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I am relieved that we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I am relieved that we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Light at the end of the tunnel. However,
there may be some bumps along the way, so we have to stay vigilant.
However, there may be some bumps along the way. So we have to stay vigilant.
However, there may be some bumps along the way, so we have to stay vigilant.
So we have to stay vigilant. However, there may be some bumps along the way. However, there may be some bumps. Along the way. So we have to stay vigilant. Well, one of the biggest concerns.
One of the biggest concerns when it comes to trip is safety.
Well, one of the biggest concerns when it comes to trips is safety. One of the biggest concerns when it comes to trips is safety. Well, one of the biggest concerns when it comes to trips is safety. When it comes to trips is
one of the biggest concerns when it comes to trips is safety. These days, it is not safe to go on trips due to the coronavirus.
It is not safe to go on trips.
These days, it is not safe to go on trips due to the coronavirus.
You are more likely to come into contact with people when you travel. You are more likely to come into contact with people when you travel. You are more likely to come into contact. You are more likely to come into contact.
You are more likely to come into contact with
people when you travel. You could get infected with COVID-19. you could get infected with
You could get infected with COVID minus
you could
19.
get infected with COVID-19. You could get infected. You could get the virus
The
is
virus
highly
is highly contagious and new
contagious
variants
and
are
new
even more
variants and-
transmissible.
or even more transmissible.
The virus is highly contagious and new variants are even more transmissible.
Even more transmissible. Even more transmissible. Highly contagious. 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 The virus is highly contagious. Contagious.
The virus is highly contagious and new
Contagious
variants are
and
even more
new variants.
transmissible.
New variants are even more transmissible. Or even more transmissible. Overall,
Overall, there are more
There are
than
more-
300 million confirmed cases
there are more than
worldwide as of
300
today.
million confirmed cases worldwide as of today.
Overall, there are more than 300 million confirmed
million
cases
confirmed
worldwide as of
cases.
today.
Worldwide, as of today. 100만 천만. Overall, there are more than 300 million confirmed cases. There are more than 300 million confirmed cases worldwide.
Overall, there are more than 300 million confirmed cases worldwide as of today.
As of today. The global
The global death toll went over 5
went
million,
over
and it is still rising.
5 million, and it is still rising. And it is still rising. And it is still rising. And it is
The global death toll went over 5 million, and it is still rising. The global death toll went over 5 million, and it is still rising.
And it is still rising. And it is still rising. And it is still rising. The global death toll went over.
The global death toll went over 5 million, and it is still
over 5
rising.
million.